Talking Animation on Rachel's Reviews, and this is the show every month where we like to talk about usually an indie or anime or a film that is less mainstream. We have a lot of fun, and this month we're talking about a film that has gotten a bit of publicity, at least in the animation community, but we wanted to talk about it. We talked about Mamoru Hosoda's film Wolf Children last month. And so this month we're talking about Belle, his latest film. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Stanford's here.
Hey, how's it going?
Yes, I'm doing good. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you. And so excited to talk about this movie.
Yes. So we had a lot of fun. We actually got to watch this one together.
Yes, thanks to you.
Yeah, it was really fun. I think it's still in theater, so it wasn't like an event or anything.
Yeah.
But it started this last weekend here in Utah to see Belle. I'd already seen it, and we'll talk a little more about that. But yeah, it was a really great. I actually saw it twice last week. Once with you, and then I saw it on the
You saw
IMAX
that one day IMAX screen. I
yeah.
was so bummed. I couldn't
resist.
No, I'm so glad you got to see it.
Yeah, it was really, really, really cool. And I got to see it at the IMAX that I like. There's one that I don't like. They always have the music too loud. And the one in the district is the one that I prefer of the IMAX personally. But the first time that I got to see Belle was at Animation's Film Festival in October, which I highly recommend anybody who's listening to this program. I highly recommend you go to this festival. It was so much fun, probably the best festival I've ever been to. And we got to not only see so many incredible films and see films that weren't in theaters like Luca, but we got to have panels and hear from the creators. It was so well done, so much fun. I just can't recommend it enough. But one of the highlights was getting to see Belle at the festival, and Mamoru Hosoda was there, and he introduced the film, and the whole every seat was full, and everybody was just on the edge of our seat. Like, it was just such. I can't think of when I have felt such electricity in a theater. Maybe at the Spider-Man movie, that was pretty electric, but certainly it was one of the highlights of the last several years of movie going was seeing Belle there at the festival. It was such an incredible experience.
What a thrill to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing a handful of experiences like that. And when you're in the same room with the filmmakers too,
Mm-hmm.
that's just so cool. And you're seeing, like you said, so you're seeing it early, and you were probably some of the first people in the United States to see this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And wow. How
it
cool.
was
Cool.
really, really, really great. And I know that they had screened it at Cannes, so there are some film critics who saw it there, and I don't know if they showed it at Annecy or not. So there were some places where you could see it, but yeah, definitely one of the first in the United States, and it was just a great experience. And sometimes it can be a little awkward if you the filmmaker's there and you're like, oh, this is not very good.
Right, it's not very good, or or there's problems or something. Yeah.
That's happened to me more than
well, it's happened to me. I was sitting right by the director, and I fell asleep, and I started to snore, and someone had to tap me. I was so horrified. I was like, I'm so sorry. I mean, I hated the movie, but I was so so horrible.
That's there was one time at Sundance where a guy got up and he said that he had been working on this movie for 12 years. And
oh dear.
I didn't hate it, but it wasn't great. I didn't go fresh on it. And and I'm sitting there in the middle of the row just like, oh, this is awkward.
oh dear. yeah.
But in this case, I was totally invested. I really enjoyed it. And we've had a number of movies recently that have kind of been about the online experience. And I think that this is one of the best, whether you're talking Ready Player One, you're talking, of course, Rap Race the Internet. Even, obviously there's ones like the Emoji Movie. There's terrible ones too.
Yeah.
We've had a lot the last few years that are kind of trying to make some sense of this experience. And I think that this is one of the most hopeful and positive, optimistic kind of versions of that that experiment, that kind of questioning this online experience. And I just really appreciated that about it, about what a positive, optimistic view. I mean, not that it doesn't go dark places, it absolutely does. We'll talk about that, but the overall message of the movie is just so hopeful and beautiful.
I'm with you. Of course, I didn't know what to expect.
Mhm.
I I was so surprised by it because, honestly, it seems like most of the messaging we get about internet or the way people are interpreting it is negative.
Yeah.
You know that, and I just was so impressed how this story really spoke truthfully about the experience of
Yeah.
being on the internet, and also just like how you can use it for good
Yeah.
and for everybody. Anyway, such a surprise, and such a so um authentic.
Mhm.
That's just for lack of a better word. It just really felt uh like real. It wasn't saccharine, it wasn't
Mhm.
overbearing. You weren't getting hit over the head with
Yeah.
anything. It was so well made.
Yeah, and you can really even see, even from Hosoda's own filmography with Summer Wars,
Yep.
and to see what he's kind of learned since that film. And we talked about that in a previous episode of Talking Animation, that that I really enjoyed that film. I think that film is really good, but um, you can see the growth kind of in him as an animator, but also just him as a storyteller, I think, since then.
I agree. It's the animation in Summer Wars in particular is so it's all I mean it's so overwhelming, but it's so amazing.
Yeah.
Uh but this I just felt like the storytelling really has hit a level of maturity and just so expertly done.
Hmm.
Just like here's a master of work, I just appreciated that
Yeah.
so much.
And one cool thing that I think made it extra rich is that you had veteran Disney animator and character designer Jin Kim and Michael Camacho that were involved in the design of Belle and the character designs. And then you also had you had Cartoon Saloon that did the backgrounds. And I think that when they were in the U World, that Cartoon Saloon did the backgrounds. And I feel like you can feel that
Oh, absolutely.
there.
Yeah, both uh, Kin's work because I always love in those Disney animation art of books, for those various
Hmm.
films, seeing his character sketches.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't know, is he still at Disney or is he doing is he just off doing other things? I don't know. Um,
I'm not
but
sure.
still, from previous films over the last decade or more, he's so impressive. And yes, you can totally tell. See, thanks for letting me know about that cartoon saloon bit. You can totally tell that.
It says on Wikipedia that he was with Walt Disney from 1995 to 2016.
Okay.
Here's interesting. He says he suffers from red green color blindness.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Interesting.
It says in May 2018, Kim returned to Los Angeles to work on Pearl Studio Netflix films Over the Moon, which was directed by Glenn
Like
Keane.
Kane, yeah.
As of August 2019, Kim had joined a new project at Disney. So I'm guessing he's working on Strange World, I
Oh,
would
okay.
think. or maybe some unannounced project,
Right.
but that'd be my
Another.
guess. And I feel
Yeah.
like that would fit his.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's incredible. I mean, he worked on like Rhapsody in Blue in Fantasia 2000.
Yeah.
He did Cusco in Emperor's New Groove. Jim on Treasure Planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, he's great.
He's great.
And Michael Camacho, I feel like I know him too.
Yeah. Now, how do you know? Yeah, because the name
The name
sounds
sounds very
familiar to
familiar.
me. Yeah.
So he worked on. Okay, he's worked on a bunch of shows. He worked on Craig of the Creek, which I've heard nothing but great things about. I definitely need to catch up on that. And Adventure Time and some other shows is what
Okay.
he's worked on. So
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, but yeah, you could feel their influence, and especially this most recent time watching. So, and I've seen it 3 times. The third time is when I really started to notice all of the Beauty and the Beast homages that they played in there. Like I noticed it, but I don't know. It was like that third time was when I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's exactly the Beast angry scene, or
Yes.
there's more in there than I think first watch really picked up on,
Mm-hmm.
because it's so different. You don't kind of notice it at first. At least I didn't, and but then the more you sort of like it makes it kind of fun. I like the fact that they didn't do like a shot for shot copy, that this is just more, you have to work a little bit harder to see all of
Yeah, I really
the
like
things.
that too because some of the stuff that I read about it that was saying that it's like a retelling, and I think that I had even put that in my initial Instagram post saying I was excited about it, and I modified a little bit just to say, of course, it's like in a way a reinterpretation of
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast and other things. There's a lot of stuff going on in this movie. Beauty and the Beast is one of them, and the
Hmm.
homages I thought were really fun. I thought
Yeah.
that there were some subtle homages to the music, and uh, and then just to certain scenes and
Hmm.
imagery and whatnot. But really, so well done that I'm with you. It didn't feel like it was it felt like it was just so respectful.
Hmm.
Infinitely better than anything from that horrible live
Oh
action
my
version
gosh.
that we've ripped on a
Agreed.
lot.
Agreed. Well, it was interesting at Animations Film. Hosada, he said that the 1992 Beauty and the Beast was part of inspiring him to become an animator. That he loved the film so much, and he said, "This is my take on the story," which I really thought that was sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. And according to Wikipedia, he wanted to do a musical at first, a full outright musical, but that evidently that's just like not a thing really in Japan, which is funny because like J-pop and K-pop is so big. I would think that musicals wouldn't be that far of a stretch,
Well, and
but
they
I guess
love
it
the
is.
American ones. I mean, weren't they just huge Frozen fans and
Yeah.
whatnot? Yeah,
Yeah, but that's what he said, and so he found the voice of Belle, Keiho Nakamura, and I guess he worked the songs around her, and she was actually even involved in the lyrics writing for her voice, and because they wanted it to sound really authentic, to because a lot of animated films have a different singer than actor, like Aladdin, for example.
right.
All of the voice actors have different singers, um, and so that's not uncommon. But they didn't want to do that for this. They wanted it to be seamless between the singing and the acting, the voice acting, and then they kind of, I think, wrote the story around those songs and around um the lyrics, and I think you can feel that. I mean, I do think the strongest aspect of the movie is probably the songs.
Hmm. Yeah, they're beautiful. You and I saw the English dub, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I liked all the voice performances. But I, also was so interested to hear what your experience with the sub, because you saw the other two times were the sub version, right?
I did, yeah, and it was a pretty good dub. I mean, we talked about it that nothing will ever eclipse the quality of the dubs for the Disney did of Studio Ghibli. I mean,
Yeah,
you can hardly
no
tell that
question. Yeah,
it's
those are so good.
so good. But this is not on that level. There are times when it doesn't quite fit, quite match up. Um, but I think it was pretty solid and very similar in voice sounds. So that's good. And whereas like for Your Name, they have a pretty decent dub, but I felt like with the music, the Radwimps music in the Your Name dub, it sounded like it was rushing because there's just more, I think, syllables in Japanese
Yeah.
than in English, and so to make the same song work um, in English, it just sounds rushed. It sounds weird, and so I didn't feel that though here. I didn't feel like I thought they did a pretty good job with the songs. I didn't feel like they were rushed or that the timing was off in the dub.
Yeah.
So I think they did a pretty good job. And I think it's a shame that they couldn't submit or they chose not to submit any of the songs for best song. I feel like you almost never hear of foreign language songs that are not in the running for best original song at the Oscars. I mean, I guess you have Jai Ho from Slumdog Millionaire um and you have I guess Disney is one of the Encanto songs is in Spanish, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so I guess at Cannes, this film received a 14-minute standing ovation.
You
Which,
could understand why. That's
yeah,
pretty impressive. Yeah.
I mean, in Cannes, they're really stingy about those standing ovations.
Yeah, you have to earn it.
Yeah. You always hear about the boos at
Yeah,
Cannes.
exactly.
They're saying this. They're saying, "Oh, so and so movie got booed at Cannes," and I'm like, well, "Join the club!" Like, so that's a pretty big thing for that to happen, and so yeah, I really loved. I I just feel like this movie has so many layers
Hmm.
with it. Like it's got a beautiful message, a like beautiful animation. I think the characters are really likable and beautifully executed and I, I don't know, I just really enjoyed it in every way. I think you can enjoy a movie and so uh let's dive into the plot. So at the beginning, we have Suzu. She sees her mother dying, trying to rescue a child from a flooding river, and that becomes a theme. Sort of rescue becomes a theme throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty startling, I think, way to start out the film. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, I mean it is. It's a shocker, and in fact, so I was wondering if the whole movie was really going to be about uh, grief, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that is part of it. But I'm with you; it's really more about rescuing,
Mm-hmm.
and but yeah, it's holy cow, that just throws you right into it, and you think, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this
Yeah.
is serious,
And I always appreciate about Hosada's films is he allows his characters to be very emotionally true.
Hmm.
Whether it's Wolf Children and
Yeah,
them, being very honest with their mother and the mother being very honest back. And in Summer Wars, it's the same with their feelings, the whole family. And in here, you have Suzu being very honest about her anger towards her mother and how she felt like her mother abandoned her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really draws you into the character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It really helps you. Uh, not, I guess not. I mean, I guess understand her, but you just empathize with her. You
Yeah.
just feel so sad. Sympathize with her. You feel so sad that she's having to go through this, and she never really can get over it, can she? I
Yeah.
mean, not that she would, but she's just still so traumatized. I appreciated how they portrayed her father,
Mm-hmm.
how he was actually kind of chill, but I think that he was doing that because he was just letting her process, even though it was
Yeah.
taking years. You know,
And I
uh,
feel like he didn't have like the tools to deal with this
I
situation.
don't
So
think
he
he
just
did
kind
either.
of,
I don't think he did either.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting when you compare it to, it just made me think of the father in Totoro. And it's kind of
Hmm.
the similar, with in that case, the mother's in the hospital, but
Yeah.
he kind of doesn't know how to deal with these girls.
Yeah.
And you have Shinobu, who is there with her when this happens with her mother, and he kind of makes a promise that he will protect her and make sure that she's okay. He'll kind of stand in for the mother in a way, and so that's why there's always a little bit of distance between. Like you can tell that Suzu wants more of a relationship with Shinobu, but there's this distance
Yeah.
that she can't until the end when she finally is finished grieving. Then he says, "I can stop protecting you now,"
Hmm.
which I really thought was
I
beautiful.
liked that too.
Yeah.
I thought that was very meaningful.
hmm Then we have Ruku, who I really enjoyed her character. I think it would have been very easy to make her, mean girl, but she's
Yes,
not.
exactly.
hmm
In fact, when we first really meet her, I thought that was the direction that it was going to go.
hmm
It was like she was giving me a not, but not
Yeah.
even.
And I love the scene where, because she has this crush on this boy named Kamishin, and he is like this big, big canoe guy, and she thinks that Suzu thinks that Ruku has a crush on Shinobu, but yet she actually has a crush on Kamishini, and the whole scene when they are admitting that they like each other in the train, I
Yeah.
died. It's so funny. It's so cute.
It's cute. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Really well
love
done.
that scene. It's really good. And then her friend Hiroka or Hiro, she's like the genius friend who's the one who introduces her to the world. And basically when the incident with her mother happened, Suzu stopped singing. It like traumatized her. She can like literally she tries to sing and she can't get it out in the world and the real world. But this whole idea of the you is that they take your biometrics and they create a character based on who you are. And she tricks it a little bit because she has them use Ruku's face to create Belle. But but when she goes into the U, her biometrics create a singer that's in her, which I thought was such a cool idea.
I'm with you. This whole creation of the it's like every social media platform rolled into one, right? Kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Which was smart way to do it, though. To create kind of their own. Uh, but I thought that was such a neat idea that it's not so much that you're creating this. I mean, it's kind of like an avatar, but it's more. I don't know. I just felt I really liked it.
Mm. Yeah, it was really good. And you can't help but imagine kind of what my character would be, and what it
Yeah.
would look like, what it would be. And I mean, I think this feels like a really fun place to hang out. Is the U. I think I would be a
Yeah.
big fan, especially in quarantine.
Right.
I mean, I said
Yeah.
that after when quarantine was just starting. I was like, if anyone wants to invent Ready Player One, I think we're all ready to go.
Seriously.
I think we're all
And
on
we're
board.
still there.
Yeah.
Uh,
um, so, and I love the design of Belle. I love the fact that they included Suzu's freckles. I think that's so cute.
yeah. That
And
was a really wonderful, just the detail.
mhm.
Yeah.
And she's just so beautiful, and I love her hair. And
And yeah, she's got this long pink
mhm.
hair and really beautiful. I mean, just stunning fashion. You know that how they dress her. Uh, just yeah, great character. Wow.
Mhm. Yeah, I just love, and then when she sings and like the whole world kind of comes alive and you see like the hearts and the things come out like out of her, the way that's all, it's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Um and so then the dragon appears, and I really love the design of the
Oh,
dragon.
I do too.
I thought it was so brilliant to have the scars from the abuse, because we find out later that he's been protecting his brother from this father, and that that's like his cape, kind of. The scars, in a way, his scars are like protecting him, which I thought was just really
Really,
beautiful.
yeah. It's a beautiful yeah way that the way that they put the
Hmm.
dragon together. I thought so too.
Yeah, what did you think about the? Uh, I forget what they actually call them, but basically like the superheroes that
Yeah.
led by this Justin character,
Right.
that are after the dragon, that are attacking the dragon, and obviously it's a little bit of Gaston in there, but what do you think that maybe Hosada is trying to say about superheroes?
Well, it wasn't flattering.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I felt there was this like with the superheroes. There's this level of machismo and
Hmm.
things that are so prevalent. Yeah, both like in our entertainment, and then just I think just in attitudes. You know, whether it be um, sporting, you know, like athletes or different things, just to have this kind of attitude. And uh, I thought it was
Hmm.
a clever and poignant way to show that type of behavior,
Yeah.
that type of thought process.
Well, yeah, and I think that it's very self-aggrandizing and not really trying to listen to
Right.
to what this, what the beast is, what the dragon is saying, or what
Yeah.
Belle is saying. And I do think that's a thing online, that it's like people have their idea, they're not interested in what other people have to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
They're going to go after this person, they don't care.
Exactly. There's really no interest in dialogue, I think.
Right.
People just want to share their opinion and frankly just be mean and and you
Hmm.
know, just not expect any kind of true interaction or a true effort to understand.
Hmm.
And again, I just thought those superheroes was the perfect way to portray that type of attitude that we see on the internet every day.
Yeah. It reminded me, the Justin, the lead one, it kind of reminded me of Brad Pitt's character in Megamind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
kind of reminded me of that.
Yes, good call.
But yeah, and so this movie, it is honest about the perils of the internet. In fact, the very first kind of interaction that Belle has, uh, she gets a lot of negative feedback. In fact, she's telling Hero that all these people don't like her on her, and and then Hiro says it's that, but look at all the people that do like you, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's not a rose-colored glasses, I think, look at the internet, but but in the end, the message is quite hopeful, and I certainly can really understand that because I've had the negative sides, of course, but when I think about the great relationships that I have made online, that have been really important. I mean, everybody that works with me at Hallmarkies Podcast are friends from the internet. I mean, you and I met
Yeah. Yeah.
because of a friend online.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say 90% of my friends are people that I met through the
Yeah.
internet. So,
Which is, really, I think, tribute to you too, Rachel, is how you approach it as well, because, you're, I think being more, uh, genuine and open on it rather than just like these people that are just being mean,
yeah.
you know?
Or like trying to appear perfect, like
You're
some,
right.
especially Instagrammers,
Yeah. Yeah.
and uh, that I feel like that ship sailed long ago for me. So what are you gonna do? What's left? But I did think about, wow, I wouldn't say that I've had many experiences of like rescuing someone, but one experience that was very meaningful to me and really changed me a lot was a friend of mine that I'd gotten to know over the years. Um, he came to me because he knew I was religious, and he wanted some advice because he was going to be coming out to his parents. And and I at this point my sister hadn't come out yet, so I didn't have that personal experience. But I just remember like wanting him to be loved so badly,
Hmm.
and wanting them to be open and accepting and kind, and they were, thankfully. And it really changed my views on a lot of things, that I'm like, I need, not that I wasn't accepting before, but I just wanted him to be loved, and I knew that I needed to be that kind of person and be that loving and that kind. And I felt honored that he came to me, for advice.
Yeah.
But that was a very meaningful experience where I felt like it kind of taps into a similar emotion that we get with Belle, where she is just so drawn to the dragon and knows she needs to help them.
Yeah.
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 And so we do get the homages to Beauty and the Beast. Like, so we said, it's sort of subtle. There's when she goes to see him and he says, "Get out, get out of here." And
Yes.
just similar to in the movie.
Yeah.
He
Well, please. No, sorry to
No, go ahead.
interrupt. No, please, after you.
Well, he has. I was just gonna say he has the little helpers,
Yeah.
which are kind of like the helpers in the objects in the movie.
Yeah. And little, just a series of little homages. They're subtle, but they're really cool. They're cool. They're
Mhm.
not in your face, and I really like that. But it's really not a Beauty and the Beast story.
Right.
So that's
It's not a romance.
and you told me that too before, right before, as we were walking in, and that helped me because I think a lot of people are kind of touting it as that, and I feel like it's an homage to the 1991 animated, great animated film, but not really a Beauty and the Beast story.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it's not really it's not a romance. I
yeah,
mean, it
not a
has
romance.
a little bit with Ruku
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Kamishin, but not with Belle and the Beast. It's not a
mhm,
romance.
right.
It's just a friendship, which I think is great. There are not enough movies made about friendship.
I thought the friendship part of it was it's what I think is what made it special.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also a couple of the other homages, you have them dancing. There's a ballroom scene.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Even, and again, not shot for shot, but even kind of an homage to the camera angles, from that wonderful scene. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other big homage, at least that I picked up on, was the when he saves her. Is very similar when he
Yes,
saves her from
it's
the wolves.
very similar and cool. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So Suzu sings as herself because Justin basically exposes her.
Yeah.
And so then she sings this massive concert. She sings this herself to get the help in the U to try to help. We end up. His name is Kai, the boy. Help the beast, and I mean that's just an incredible sequence.
Oh my goodness. When that all started going down, I think just kind of, it took my breath away. And then again, it's so masterfully created, and the animation is so complex, because I love that, it's like they're in like, Tron or something, kind of thing, or as you said, kind of the Matrix. But and there's just like, hundreds of thousands of screens open of like people that are watching her.
Mm-hmm.
But she's floating in air and kind of isolated, and it's her, as you said, and not she's not under the guise of Belle. And I just feel like that's where she gains her courage and gets the clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so well done. It was so just really wowed.
Yeah, and I loved whenever they showed the whale with the
Yeah.
speakers on them. That was
Yep.
so beautiful.
Oh,
I loved that. And
absolutely.
so they start to be able to put the pieces together, and they find this live stream that Kai and his brother did, and they almost get the address, but then the dad comes in, and I mean I do think that the father could be a little triggering for people that have.
Oh yeah, that had been through an
Mm-hmm.
abusive situation.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
He is scary.
He's totally scary. And not that they like full on showed the violence, but you knew what was going on. It was
Mm-hmm.
not, this was not sugar coated
Yeah.
at all.
I mean, especially with all of those bruises,
Oh yeah.
that the dragon has.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they are able to kind of start to put the pieces together. And I really liked how it was like the whole community, was there. All the like various people that we'd met, like at the senior center and a
Yes.
different thing. They were all there and they're all kind of helping to put it together. It
Helping.
almost had like a little bit of I don't know, like a Truman Show kind of vibe, a little bit
Yeah.
of like everybody watching and
Yeah. Right. And then, helping each other and sharing their knowledge to pinpoint where this location was.
Yeah, because her one friend, I can't remember if it's Ruku or somebody else, I can't remember, but she hears the morning announcements
Yep.
at the beginning, basically. So they're able to narrow it down to this suburb of Tokyo, and then they see there's only two big buildings, and they see that from the window, and they're able to kind of put it together. And so then she goes on the train to go and find them, and I just absolutely love the scene when she sees the two boys and they hug. At first, the Kai's a little bit, is this really Belle? Is this really her? And they hug, and then the dad comes, and he can't break the hug.
Yeah.
Like that's just too much. For him. It makes me cry just thinking about it. It was so
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's beautiful. And what's so interesting too to me was so much of this film is set in in the U world, which is so flashy and
Mm-hmm.
so I don't mean overwhelming, the word overwhelming to sound negative, but there's just so much. There's so many pieces of animation, that are in this. All the, all the windows and all the conversation bubbles and all the characters and all the stuff. And this scene is so simple. They're on a street and it's raining and it's just these four people. And the color palette's very subdued, during that, and it's so powerful. Uh, and again, I just was thinking again, master filmmaker at work,
Mhm.
because that's how that scene needed to play out.
Yeah.
Something else, something great.
Yeah, it really it almost had the feeling of the whole in the Bible when everybody's about to stone the woman, and then Jesus saves her. It almost had that a little bit of a feel to me of
Yeah,
just it was just so beautiful. And I said in my review, I said, this is not the story of finding good in a monster as the Disney film does. It's about finding good in the monster of the cyber world. That it can be a tool to help us all reach out to each other and rescue each other. How needed and beautiful is that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Really, it was a great review too, Rachel. Thank you. I read it before we recorded. You did such a nice job. But
Thanks.
the yeah, that's so perfectly said about that scene.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
just loved it. I thought it was pitch perfect. And there is a lot going on in this movie, and it's maybe a hair too long, but I just really loved it. I thought it was so beautiful. I thought the story really meant something to me, and I love the music. I've been listening to it nonstop since October,
do you listen
and
to the English version or the Japanese too? As far as with the songs, Rachel, what kind
Japanese.
of Japanese? Okay,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And and how beautiful that after saving these boys, that then now she understands her mother,
yeah,
and she's in a place where now in Shinobu says, "I don't have to protect you anymore," and she's finally able to sing with her friends
yeah,
at the end,
yeah.
and in real life, not even just in the U. So that was gorgeous, beautiful.
You know, she's got such a great character arc,
Hmm.
and again, it just felt so uh, right the way everything came together that she's able to finally make peace with this with her mother's death, which is um, so hard, but it was I thought it was done as she realized it in such an interesting way by actually doing what her mother did, you know, um, in her own way.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I didn't I should have put a post on Twitter, asking for comments, but I've gotten a lot just that I've shared and retweeted and stuff. But but like our friend Kyle, he said that it's so rich, like a dense layer cake, a lot to think about once it's over. There's a ton of different ideas, themes going on at once, and all feeling seamless. It takes on a balanced and thoughtful look on our social media age, and to me is the right way to update a fairy tale. In this case, the Beauty and the Beast story to a modern sensibility and tell it from a different perspective. As Mamoru Hosoda crafted a beautiful, surrealistic digital odyssey like few others. Visually top notch, top to bottom, powerful storytelling on a truly unique plane. I'd call it a masterpiece. Another
yep,
one of my friends says, amazing movie. This is Real Fanatic. He says, amazing movie, and only one animated movie from 2021 is better by a nose in my book, The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Um, I had one friend, it was interesting, Kevin the critic, when he first saw it, he was like a 3 out of 5. And then he read my review of talking about the homages to Beauty and the Beast. And he said, in learning some new information regarding the anime Belle from Rachel's reviews right up on the film, my score goes up to a 4 out of 5 stars. One of the best of the years. Please see this film however you can. It's beautiful. And so I think that's interesting. And I think that says something to the film that there's every time you watch it, there's a new layer that you realize.
yeah. Which you experienced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Dalton Carter, he says, featuring breathtaking animation, beautiful music, and a heartfelt message on the good that social media is capable of. Belle is both another wonderful anime from Mamoru Hosoda and a brilliant modern twist on the classic fairy tale as old as time.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's just a very special film, and I hope that people people keep going to see it, and that it keeps doing well, because it's just great. What a great year for animation, because we not only, of course, we had Mitchell's vs. Machines, we had Encanto, also had Flea, which we'll probably talk about for indie animation one of these days.
Yeah.
Another friend says, Belle has been stuck in my mind ever since seeing it. And I feel like that's true with it too, that it just kind of
Yes,
stays
it
there.
just stays with you. That's what's happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there, and I just because it was so good, it's so thought provoking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another friend says, Belle has been like a drug to me ever since my first viewing. So there we go.
Good stuff. Go see it.
Yes, please, everyone go see it. It's such a beautiful film, and I hope that it gets people. I just hope that people that are closed-minded about anime will at least give it a shot, because I feel like it's pretty accessible.
I do too. It's yeah, and there's enough, and then again, just because it's so positive and really and ultimately so real, uh, it's a good one for people to try
Mm-hmm.
if they're hesitant about trying out anime.
Yeah, yeah. Well, very good. Thanks so much for doing this and talking about this movie with me. This was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you for introducing me to it, Rachel. It was so kind of you. What a great movie.
So let us know, if you're listening, what you think about and how it would rank for you in the Hosada library, I guess, films. We'd love to
Yeah.
hear your thoughts. And please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. I would sure appreciate that. And Stanford, how can people find you?
On Twitter, I'm at Stanford Clark, and I have a movie podcast and blog at moviespastandpresent.com. Please follow me on Instagram. My handle is at moviespap, as in past and present.
Right. Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. And also check out the Hallmarkies podcast. A lot of fun going on over there. Also, I'm going to be covering Sundance Film Festival, and hopefully getting to interview some of the animators. We'll see how that works out. But
I know. I hope it's going
definitely
to work.
make sure that you're following me over on Twitter, because I'll have all of that. And I'm going to be doing daily logs for everything that I watch during the festival. So take a look at that. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.